This is what happens when you give a 20-year-old girl an E46 M3. Well, not so much actually. She's just trying to replace her Visco and then suddenly, poof, the engine is out of the car. I don't know when that happened, how that happened, but it happened. Ordered a lot of new stuff that didn't actually fit, and we had a lot of issues along the way. But the moment of truth is coming nearby. Did this 20-year-old woman fuck up the car, or is the mission complete? That's what I have for this car, a short shifter. So before we're gonna install the engine, we're gonna actually install the short shifter first. So I'm gonna take you through the whole process of that. But first I'm gonna tell you what I did to get this engine in the car. As we all know, the new headers didn't fit, so we had to install the old ones again. Do not forget on the O2 sensors, the starter motor is installed as well. Just all the small stuff, you know, like the steering oil pump, the ICV or idle air control valve. And that's basically it. Now it's just a matter of installing the wiring loom, and then it's getting the engine in the car. But first, let's move on with the short shifter. Start off by removing everything here, as I am a DIY girly. Voila. Just have some plugs to plug out. It's already loose. I've been driving around like this. Upsakey. It's actually good I have a short shifter because they grinded it off or cut it off right here. And the new one isn't like that, luckily. I don't know why they did that. Doesn't look all that good to me. I actually have that same issue in my E36 and this shit happens. When everything's removed here, we're gonna go underneath the car. And then you have to force it kind of this way so it comes out. It's not going that easily, but... Okay, ta-da! We have to manipulate the bushing out of there, and this is something it is easier to get into than to get out. Never mind, I didn't say anything. Now this thing has to come off. I don't know any specific hard terms, so I'm just looking at something and I call it this thing. If you've been following me for a while, you should know that by now. Then we have to remove this rubber. This is the old one and this is the new one, and the difference here is that this side is much longer than here, and this is a little bit bended as well. I don't know if we will have any issues here, but the longer this is, the shorter it will shift. So I'm really curious how this will shift and what will feel right, because it's adjustable. This is called OEM BMW short shifter adjustable. I don't know, I just ordered this off the internet. You loop this up a bit and then this ring has to go over it. This is just the old one. You cannot reuse, but that's my only choice now, so we have to reuse it. And then of course the last step is to get it in here. The short shifter is in its place, and as I remove my AC, we're gonna remove the lines of that as well. I did that for weight reduction. Was that a necessary thing? I don't know, I just did that. So, what are we all taking out of here? First of all, the AC condenser, because we don't need that anymore. Rip the AC dryer out of there as well. And remember this issue I had with my car? It's actually solved because this was related to the AC, and now that it is removed, I don't need to buy a new one or look after it anymore. The headlight washers, weren't really all that good or in the greatest condition as well. So I'm just gonna remove them, because who needs this anyway, or who uses this?
I do.
I don't. And basically every unnecessary hose or pipe related to the AC we just removed. And now it's about time to let the battle begin. This guy is gonna go inside the car. The battle hasn't even started yet and another thing popped up. What the actual is this? It's just cracked everywhere, and this is the oil cooler, the old one. Both of us didn't notice this. The good thing is I have a new oil cooler right there, a CSF one, I think. I don't know, it was expensive. But it is a lot easier to switch up these lines when the engine is out than when the engine is in, because it has to get in between here and over here in these holes. Yeah, so that's kind of up, so I don't know what we're gonna do now. I am gonna look for a new one, but the engine is gonna go in there right now, so that is the thing we don't have to look after. I'm glad about that. So we will not start the engine right now, but it's already something. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. ben content. We still needed to adjust the wiring loom a little bit better and get the control box in the correct place. And just a tip I give you, before you pour your oil in the engine, shake it a little. And just for reference, an S54 of my M3 needs 5.5 liter oil, and I'm using the Kroon one 10W60. Of course we need steering oil as well. Guess what? It's the wrong one. Once again, are you surprised? I'm not. Luckily, we still had some of the right one on stock, so that issue was fixed quite quickly. We're gonna turn on the battery. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the moment we've all been waiting for. First, we're gonna start the car without spark, so the engine is like lubed up because there's no engine. Because there's no engine in the oil. Well, there is oil in the engine, but it's not evenly spread out. Another thing is, if there are leakages somewhere in the engine, we will see that without doing any damage because there's no spark. Can I? Oh, ik ben bang.
Ja, dat is spannend.
Ja, ik ook. Ik durf niet. Ik ga het toch doen. Maar dat meen je nu toch niet? We have a different battery to try it out. It's not the correct battery, but we have to roll with what we have at this point. Maar ja, dat gaat tering luid zijn. Stel je niet laten onder. Oké. Werkt niet. Ah, we hebben een hangdeel. Gaat die ontploffen? Nee, dat mag niet. We just did a cylinder leak down test, and the thing we noticed is that cylinder 5 and 6 are bleeding into each other, so that's a bad thing. It's also a common known thing on the S54. Why are we doing this when the engine is in the car? I don't know, but we're doing it anyway because it's something that has to be looked after, because if you don't, your engine will go kaput. That's something you don't want to happen. That's something I don't want to happen. And I am going to take you through that process as well. I can hear you thinking already, why didn't you do this before? I cannot answer that question. I don't know, man. Guess I'm doing it for the plot now. But if this is something that could be an issue in the future, then I'd rather do it right now than later on. The valve cover we just installed had to come back off, including the vanos, heat shields, gaskets, thermostat, spark plugs, the idle control valve, and this is just to start with. Next up is the camshafts that have to be removed, and be very careful when doing this because they break very easily. Just give them all a quarter turn until they are all loose. And just remove everything until you get access to the cylinder head and you can remove the bolts, which is the main point of all of this. The cylinder head bolts are out of the car, and these are actually the bolts of everything. When we loosened these bolts up, they were actually not tied in there and actually pretty loose, and you could just like get them out, like not like this, but with little effort. That's why I ordered the ARP ones. Those are quite expensive. I found them for 250 euros, but the original price was 440 for bolts. Can I breathe? Please. Anyway, I ordered those because if the engine does any damage because of this, the original price for the BMW ones for the whole set are like 80, 90 euros. Those from ARP are 440 euros. But if my engine goes kaput because of this, it will be more expensive than 440 euros. So that's why I ordered those. Now I'm sure that that issue will be solved as well, and that I have to think about that. I didn't even know that this was an issue with the S54. Well, now I do, and now you do as well. This is the culprit here. This gasket exists out of different layers, and the layer in between, you can see that this is cut through right here as well, and all the rest has the same problem. This is not how it's supposed to be. That's This also means that all the cylinders are leaking compression into each other, which is bad. So I'm really glad I saw this and then I looked into the engine further, as I actually know I should, but you know, the easy way out and the quickest way out is not always the best way out. Take it from me, because this is a great example of that. This is the type of stuff you always see on like YouTube videos when you try to figure out your problem, and now it's real life. Yeah. As we are in the situation right now, it's the perfect time to check up on my valves. And if your intake valves are black, I have good news for you. Your car is sipping oil. Mine are in this situation coffee brown, which is absolutely great. If you don't know the working of this, it's actually not that hard. It is just your cylinder compressing air into this scoop-like shape, and your spark plug is in the little hole you see. To test if your valves aren't bended, we are pouring in red gasoline, I think the name is. And this liquid is known to crawl between everything. It's just a matter of waiting and seeing if the liquid gets out on the valves. Also, this is preventative maintenance, but in my case, my valves are actually pretty great, if not to say excellent. If you do this, it's important you suck it back out, because if you will start your car will smell like shit. He's preparing the surface right now with a special OEM gasket removing block from BMW itself. This is the number if you're wondering. This doesn't remove any metal of the block, but it just removes the gasket residue. Because the S54 has to be special and BMW does not allow to resurface the cylinder head. Actually, because there were a few people telling me in my DMs, you should resurface your cylinder head before you insert it in the car because you're gonna do damage if you insert or if you install the ARP bolts, which is actually not true because BMW does not allow you to resurface your cylinder head. My engine did not get too hot, my valves are still in the greatest condition, everything's still good, everything's still fine, so I think we're gonna be good and fine as well. I know I look sexy as fuck. Sorry. So with all this being said and done, let me show you the next step of doing all the stuff we're doing right now. While he is doing this, I'm over here in the engine, making sure that this surface is clean and that there's no residue of the gaskets, the previous one on here as well, because this is very, very important. Because if this doesn't happen, then we could have further... I look bald. Anyhow, so if you don't remove all the previous gasket residue of your thingy right here, yeah, then you might have a problem later in the process. The next step is to clean it off with a bit of Scotch-Brite and knives like this, and when you're all done, you get your paper towel, spray some brake cleaner on here. We all know I have experience with that. Voila, I am a woman, I can multitask. And then you can clean off all the shmoo that's on there still, and it's all nice, clean and smooth. The next step is thread chasing, and the thing this does is actually just cleaning up the thread in between here and preparing it for the new studs. And we slid it 2 slits in between here to pick up the dirt. This is a necessary thing to do before we put the engine back together, before we even start the engine in general, and before mounting the cylinder head. It's just a tip I give you. Now that everything's super clean and the surface is quite even, let me look at that. We can install the new cylinder head gasket, and you can tell that this one is much better than the old one I showed you. Good thing that the cylinder head is on there, but before we move on, let me explain to you why I think that this engine is actually worth the hype, or even this car is worth the hype. The E46 M3 is not only just, in my opinion, an iconic car, it is in the books of history an iconic car as well. Starting off with the marvelous naturally aspirated 6-in-line IS54, they started building in the years 2000, and in that time that was an impressive thing to do. A 3.2 liter with 343 horsepower on the rear wheels of BMW is something to not underestimate. The E46 M3 features a timeless design which has both sporty and classic lines, which makes it so much more attractive. This car is contributing to the joy of driving as you have a perfect connection between driver and car. The combination of performance, design and driving pleasure makes this E46 M3 an icon in the automotive world. The E46 M3 was in that time very advanced on terms of technology, as you had the dynamic stability control and a Vanos. Some people also call this the best engine BMW ever made, but a lot of people have different opinions about that. The prices of these cars have been going up because a lot of people like to collect them. You can find cheaper ones on the market, but you have really expensive ones as well. So if you want to buy one, you have to look out for yourself. It has this metal-like raspy sound. And I must say, I had to get used to it, but now I like it. I love it very much. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of them because it doesn't sound like other cars. In my opinion, that makes it very unique. Oh yeah. And then of course you have the V8 GTR version of this car. But that's for another video. Back to the struggle I've been to. The ARP bolts have a different torque spec than the original BMW bolts, and this is the manual of that. It's important that if you buy ARP bolts, it's important if you buy ARP bolts, stop that me! It's important if you buy ARP bolts that you look for the torque specs on your kit number, because every kit has different torque specs. You can replace these bolts one by one when the cylinder head is still on there, which is a good thing. If you want to prevent premature head gasket failure, which was the case right here, it was not really that premature, but it wasn't that bad as well. The kit comes with all the studs, the washers, the nuts, and this assembly lubricant. And it is indeed very important that you use this one and not another one, because it's in the kits. you have to use it. I think you would be rather stupid if you don't use this. Because this lubricant is actually specially made to work together with the kit. Because if you use different lubricants, it could be that you do not have the right torque specs. And with this, you do not have that problem. The torque spec they have to be in is 105 pounds-feet, I don't know. But it's important that you do this in 3 steps. So 3 times 35. And it's important that you do it in this sequence. This is also the manual. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. And the rest, so it's kind of like constantly in this shape. So if you thread the studs in by hand, you have these washers that just go over them. Just like this. Ta-da! And when you did all of this, it's time for the assembly lubricant. Normally this should be applied with a brush. We don't have a brush, but we have screwdrivers. And we all know I have very much experience with screwdrivers. So you just get this inside the nut and on the edges all around. It's kind of like Stutjesmin. Just like this, nothing more, nothing less. And then you get them inside the engine on your stud and just screw them in. It's actually not all that difficult. I'm so glad that the bolts are in there or the studs are in there. I'm so glad that the shims are in there as well because we picked them out before we installed the cylinder head. But we still need some gaskets on the sides and a gasket right here, which I do not have right now, so we cannot work further on the car until I have those parts. I hope you enjoyed the video kinda. I know we didn't start the car, but also this is process of like building engines and building cars. I'm just really glad that I saw the issue that was there with the gaskets. Yeah, we still have all these parts that still have to be in the car, but I think once I have everything, that's gonna go rather quick. And then it's just a matter of, will the car start or will the car not start? Or will the battery be dead or will the battery not be dead? But I know that issue now, so I can charge them. So that's something I can avoid. Besides all of that, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank everybody for watching my videos and for supporting me throughout the journey. Really appreciate that. There's merch coming on the way. I don't know where it is right now, but it's on the way. So I will have some samples of that very soon, and I'll drop that on my Instagram, and you can pre-order that if you want to. This is no obligation whatsoever. This is also not something I'm earning money on, because merch is expensive as it's really just because it's fun to do. So the next video will be the last video of working on my engine, because I'll make sure of that. I know I said that already like max 2 times, but I promise you guys it's gonna be the last time. And then my engine will be running, might be running, but then my engine will be running. Keeping in the good spirit. It's probably not matching your expectations, but ja, kan er nooit niet aan doen, hè. Then I'll be seeing you guys in my next video, and if you're not following me on Instagram, tada, please do. I'll see you in my next video. Ciao.